All right, hello. I know you guys love video lessons, so that's why we're doing one today. It's your absolute favorite. You always tell me that. So here we are. Today I am in Fargo for training, but we are going to continue our learning with inequalities. But today we're going to talk about compound inequalities. Okay, and we're going to get to examples in order to learn really what a compound inequality is and how we can represent values with a compound inequality. Okay, so we've done this before, right? If x is greater than 5, we're going to put an open circle at 5, and then we draw our arrow going this way, right? We know that because it has to be greater. Now, if it was greater than or equal to, we would fill in the circle. But in this case, we don't have that, okay? So, and then x is less than 10. We've graphed these before, right? Open circle at 10, arrow going this way, all right? Those are simple inequalities. Okay, let's get to what a compound inequality is. So this is saying x is greater than 5 and x is less than 10. Okay, this x is the same thing because, remember, variables represent numbers, and if it's the same variable, it means that it's the same number. Okay, now this is the tricky step here that we're going to have to get familiar writing with this. We can write it in this notation. And this is very, very easy to read. Okay? We start in the middle and we just say both sides. So, x is greater than 5, x is less than 10. Alright? So we need to be able to write from this to this efficiently when we're talking compound inequalities. Okay? So x is less than 5 and x is greater than 10 is how we read that. Which is the same thing. X is greater than 5 and x is less than 10. But how can we diagram this on a number line? Okay? This is the really important part today. So I know that x has to be greater than 5, right? So I'm going to put an open circle at 5. I also know that x is going to be less than 10. So I'm going to put an open circle at 10. Okay? If it has to be greater than 10 or greater than 5 but less than 10, all I need to do is just connect those two lines. So what this, those two circles with a line. So what this is saying is that any number in between here and so on will work for x. So a possible value for x could be 6.3. Okay, a possible value for x could be 9.9. Okay, it could be 5.1. So we're just saying that x represents any of these numbers between 5 and 10. Okay? I really want you guys to be able to write this notation here because it makes it much more compact. So, now let's look at this compound inequality. It's the same thing, we just have a little greater than or equal to or less than or equal to there. Okay? And remember, x is greater than or equal to 5 and x is less than or equal to 10. So x is greater than or equal to 5, x is less than or equal to 10. Alright, so here's that notation again I want you guys to be writing this in. Let's represent this one on a number line. Here we have a closed circle because it is greater than or equal to at 5. Okay? And at 10, we're going to have a closed circle because it's less than or equal to 10. And again, we're going to connect those two dots because it has to be greater than 5, but it has to be less than 10. Okay? So we do have our number line right there, and we are done. So here's the concept for today. A compound inequality allows us to show a set of values between two numbers. Right? We talked about that. Any possible value could be anything in here. Any number you choose in here could be a possible value for x because it satisfies this condition. Okay? What I'm going to do now is show you some examples of how this actually works in the real world. So, let me get there. Right here it is. Okay. So, we're going to let T be the temperature. So the variable T is going to represent temperature in Fahrenheit. Okay? We know that at one time during the day the temperature was 19 degrees. but it never went lower than 19 degrees. We also know that another time during the day, it was 33 degrees outside, but it never went higher than 33 degrees. At other times, the temperature was in between those two extremes. Okay, here's one extreme, and here's the other extreme, 19 and 33. So we're going to write compound inequalities based on 19 degrees and 33 degrees. Okay. Now, how would we write the inequality using the symbol less than or equal to? Let's take a look at how we can do that. Okay. We know that the temperature was 19 degrees, but it never went lower than 19 degrees. So T must be greater than or equal to 19. Okay. It has to be greater than because it never went lower than 19 degrees. And it never went higher than 33 degrees, so T has to be less than or equal to 33 degrees. It could be 33, but not 34. So we do need to include the equal bar underneath these inequalities here. Alright? So on a number line, again, closed circles at 19 and 33, and we have our line in between. These are closed. So the question is, does this graph make sense? It does. Alright, on a very cold winter day in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I will never go to Green Bay because the Packers stink. However, on my way, on a very cold winter day in Green Bay, the low temperature was negative 12 degrees and the high temperature was 2 degrees. How can we write this inequality and show it on a number line? Well, it never went lower than negative 12. So I have negative 12 on the far left side. T has to be greater than negative 12 because it never went lower. Okay? It also never went higher than 2 degrees. So I'm going to put a positive 2 there. Here's my compound inequality. And then on a number line, here's negative 12. Here's 2. I'm going to put closed circles here. Closed circle, because I have an equal sign. And boom. Done. Just like that. That's all you guys got to do today. Alright? So compound inequality, make sure you're writing in this fancy notation. It might take some getting used to. Be sure to check yourself. Read it out loud to yourself, see if it makes sense. T is greater than or equal to negative 12, and T is less than or equal to 2. It makes sense, so we can move on. Okay? That is it for today. Alright, I will have the homework sheet up here on the table. You are free to grab that and get that done. The homework sheet will be due tomorrow, Wednesday, beginning of class. Enjoy the rest of your day, ladies and gentlemen. I miss you.